Sipres is a customized software solution designed to provide comprehensive support for all judicial and administrative court activities in the Serbian misdemeanor courts. The software is a result of several years of close collaboration between the USA Judicial Reform and Government Accountability Project, implemented by the National Center for State Courts, and the local counterparts in the Republic of Serbia, the Ministry of Justice, the High Judicial Council, the Appellate Misdemeanor Court, and the 44 misdemeanor courts. The misdemeanor courts are an important segment of the Serbian judiciary with the largest case intake exceeding 1 million cases annually. They administer over 300 different statutes and local ordinances and communicate and coordinate with various state agencies outside the judiciary. Prior to the introduction of Sipres, these courts did not operate as a system. They were lacking an efficient method of communication. They were inefficient in processing their cases effectively and displayed uneven practices across the board. This all contributed to low levels of voluntary compliance with court decisions and a large number of cases reaching the statute of limitations. The project recognized that these problems could best be resolved by providing a statewide case management solution that would increase efficiency, standardize court procedures, and prompt users into action. To ensure that these results would be achieved, the project also worked on reforming the necessary legislative and regulatory framework, preparing the technical preconditions for installation, and providing the needed educational support to system users. At the beginning, the project conducted a detailed analysis of Serbian laws and regulations. Combined with numerous on-site visits to review court practices, this resulted in various case flow improvements. The project was also instrumental in working with the Ministry of Justice to substantially rewrite the primary legislation regulating the misdemeanor court procedure and other relevant bylaws. As a result of this new law on misdemeanors, lesser offenses would now be processed through an administrative procedure outside of the courts. This reduced the overall burden on the courts and allowed judges to focus on comparatively more significant contested cases. Since defendants are entitled to pay only half of the required fine if they accept responsibility and enter payment immediately, voluntary compliance has also increased substantially. From March 2014 to September 2016, this change alone has resulted in over $100 million in collected revenue and 74% voluntary compliance rate with misdemeanor orders. The revised misdemeanor law also prescribes new methods of enforcement. Prior to the revision, incarceration was the only efficient method available to the courts to enforce their judgments, which increased government spending on corrections and did little to improve voluntary compliance rates. The new law straightened provisions on community service, gave the court more authority to garnish against the bank accounts, wages, and other income. The law also established the National Registry of Debtors to prevent persons with unpaid misdemeanor fines from obtaining or renewing, for example, their driver's licenses and vehicle registrations until their fines have been paid. The registry alone has increased compliance rates with courts' decisions by 12%, generating more than $19 million over a period of 6 months. Prior to the regulatory changes, the courts also found it difficult to track payment information. Control numbers used to track payments didn't provide sufficient information to match individual payments to the individual case. The project worked closely with the Ministry of Finance to reform financial tracking regulation. The courts can now track payments using a unique identifier statewide and match it directly to the appropriate case. The number of accounts was also downsized to enable increased control over financial transactions. The project also facilitated various electronic data exchange programs between Sipres and several other state agencies. Exchanges were established with the Ministry of Interior, the Traffic Police, the Ministry of Finance, the Treasury Department, and the Central Registry of Mandatory Social Insurance. Prior to the project's involvement, technical equipment available in the courts was limited and outdated. Judges and court staff had low basic computer skills, and court operations were rarely automated. To establish necessary preconditions for automation, the project provided more than 3,000 pieces of computer equipment to the courts and delivered system-wide basic computer literacy training. Network equipment and infrastructure was procured and installed in 150 locations around the country. This created the needed infrastructure to support a centralized system running across all misdemeanor court locations in Serbia. Sipres was built using world-class Microsoft technology that is widely utilized in the local market and could be maintained by various Serbian vendors. The system was also locally built and supported to reduce labor cost and secure sustainable maintenance. Permanent software licenses with no annual fees or carrying cost were purchased, which could later be used in the entire judiciary with no additional costs for the Serbian government. These technological and management choices provide the Republic of Serbia with an advanced, world-class technological solution which meets the needs of the judiciary and the financial capacities of the state. To improve local IT management practices and further reduce long-term costs, the project also purchased and installed Active Directory. This is a software solution for managing all pieces of equipment in the judiciary. The platform allows the relevant authorities to introduce national-level policies, undertake system repairs, and exercise control of network service providers from one central location, saving the Serbian government substantial resources on IT management. Ample educational support was provided by Jirga. All system users were trained extensively to ensure maximum understanding and optimal use of the system. Initial training of 2,000 court staff and judges were repeated on-site to reinforce knowledge and ensure that all users were comfortable with performing their tasks. A customer service help desk was established to answer questions and provide assistance daily. A detailed written tutorial was prepared and handed over to the courts and the Judicial Academy, a competent local institution which would be able to provide future training. Finally, the project identified local super users who would continue to proliferate knowledge among their colleagues and support any future training initiatives. Today, this centralized case management system is being used in all 153 locations around the country by all judges and staff in the misdemeanor courts at all stages in the proceedings. As of August 2016, there are more than 3.5 million cases in the system. Sipres is used to perform various tasks, to swiftly exchange information among the courts and with other government agencies, to maintain accurate financial transaction records, to exercise simple auditing functions and effectively manage upcoming judicial tasks and activities. Its primary outputs include the electronic court docket, judicial performance reports, customizable court documents which populate from the court docket, and the National Registry of Sanctions and Registry of Debtors. Most notably, Sipres allows misdemeanor courts to electronically accept filings from the traffic police. These cases, which represent 60% of the court's complaints, previously required registry clerks to enter around 3,000 characters per case in the court docket. The automatic data exchange has reduced this task to only 5 simple clicks. Given that these courts receive more than 1 million cases annually and that a single case entry may take up to 20 minutes to complete, this exchange results in hundreds of thousands of man-hours saved. The courts are also connected to the Treasury Department, which allows them to accurately match payments to the appropriate case. The courts can also check the status of a payment originating from other misdemeanor courts, if enforcement is occurring in their jurisdiction. Authorized system users can also directly query the Central Registry of Mandatory Social Insurance to receive information about defendants' employment status. Direct access to employment information allows the courts to enforce their decisions through wage garnishment, reducing incarceration rates and the associated costs to the states. The courts can also attempt service of process at the workplace as a more effective alternative, given that defendants' residence addresses are rarely current in the Republic of Serbia. Sipres is also connected to a publicly available government portal, which displays case flow information to the public. increasing transparency, accountability, and access to justice. The task of completing statistical reports has also drastically improved. While the production of performance reports, as well as control of their accuracy and method of calculation, has proven to be a challenge before Sipres, generation of these reports is now completely automated and applied uniformly in the entire country. The reports can also be viewed by the relevant auditing authorities from their workstations. New graphical representations of judicial performance are placed on each judge's homepage, displaying reports of individual results as compared to best results and court averages. Each judge receives notices about impending statute of limitations and other upcoming events on a case. System locks are also imposed to ensure that certain procedures are followed and that data is recorded accurately by court staff. The system has done a lot to standardize court procedures, while at the same time allowing various customizable options to accommodate personal styles and changing circumstances. The 300 court forms contained in Sipres can be customized in their content by individual courts or by each judge separately, while authorized system users can also edit lists of laws, regulations, and government agencies to suit the needs of their court. Sustainability, data integrity, and cost-effectiveness were central to the development of Sipres from the outset. The project established well-rounded training programs, provided world-standard, readily available technologies, and purchased lifelong licenses without hidden costs, all in an effort to ensure long-term, sustainable management of the system. In the last year of Jirga, all operative control over the system was handed over to the Ministry of Justice. With assistance from the project, the ministry was able to procure maintenance services, provide vendor training, and establish a permanent body responsible for approving future upgrades. The project also provided the Ministry of Justice with a policy document outlining methods of software development and recommendations for future management. The principles of development and software management, which produced important and tangible results in the misdemeanor courts, were shared with the Ministry of Justice as a shining example for court automation for the entire judiciary in Serbia.